It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline. Brought to you by the Westgate Las Vegas, home of the world's largest race and sportsbook and the Super Contest.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
Presented by WagerTalk.com.
And here we go. It's the Tuesday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline on ESPN Las Vegas. We are happy to have you with us, whether you're listening on the radio or online at LVSportsNetwork.com. All right, Platinum's producing the show, and he's nodding in approval right now as I get in all these little things that we're supposed to do. Marco DAngelo's here. I'm Dave Cokin. We'll have Jeff Sherman from Superbook USA at the Westgate in faraway places all over this country as well. Lots to talk about with Jeff. We have another ticket punched last night. Wofford. They avoided having to sweat whether they would get in or not as an at-large, which I'm not sure they would have. But they're in now, and the Wofford Terriers. You know, it was a funny game, Marco, because I watched the whole game. And Greensboro's ahead most of the game. But you knew there was a Wofford run coming, and there it was. And they not only won, they covered as well. So kind of a rough beat for Greensboro backers who covered the spread for almost the entire game. But this is a really good basketball team, and watch out, whatever big power team, power conference school draws them in the first round, because, you know, unless the NCAA does the unthinkable, which they could do, and matches them up with another mid-major, Wofford's a team that could be playing in the second weekend.
Where do you think they get seated?
I don't know. I haven't done that yet. I just haven't done it because I don't pay much attention to the seating until it actually happens. But I think realistically, I don't know. They probably shouldn't be. I don't think they should be more than a 10, but they'll probably be less than that. They'll probably be 11 or 12.
Okay, I was thinking 12 or 13, and it's a team that...
If they're at 13, that's an underseed.
Yeah, it's a team that nobody's going to want to play. Nope. They've played good basketball all season, and we talked about that yesterday. And that run you talked about, when they got the lead and Greensboro knew what their fate was going to be, you saw the lead get extended. And we talked about the teams that know that they're not going to get an at-large.
Right.
Whenever they see the game is over, you know,
kind of slips away.
The heart stops. You know, you don't got that gutty matchup anymore for the fight. So, congrats to them. And well, it seems like an annual thing with Gonzaga. This is their town. This is their town.
That was a misleading score last night because Pepperdine actually made a bunch of threes late to get it to like 26 or something like that. But I think Gonzaga just murdered them. And what we saw last night, probably going to happen again tonight, because I think St. Mary's might hang around for a while, but then Gonzaga is going to whack them at some point, and I wouldn't be betting against Gonzaga tonight.
Yeah. St. Mary's is the second best team in the conference, in which most years they are, but that difference between first and second, and we'll talk about it later, this might be the biggest gap between these two teams in recent years. Gonzaga is head and shoulders above St. Mary's, and St. Mary's has proved to be, fairly vulnerable at times.
But I don't think they're an NCAA tournament team this year. I don't think they're going to get snubbed. I don't think they belong, quite frankly.
And I think they realize that as well.
Yeah, they'll be in the NIT. All right, so look at what's happening here. We'll talk with Jeff Sherman a little bit to see what's happening with the prices. But we already know what's happened to the Steelers, losing two superstars. Brown, now with the Raiders. We don't know where Bell's going to end up, but
what a saga this is.
He's going to end up someplace. Bell. And now, the team that made the playoffs out of the division, the Ravens, their defense, which was as good a defense as it was in the NFL, now down 3 guys from last year. They didn't re-sign Weddle, so he became, he got released. Mosley is gone. Now Suggs is gone. Are the Browns going to end up the favorite in this division? I mean, I know that sounds outlandish, but the Steelers and Ravens are not as good now as they were last year.
They're not, but I think the Steelers are, and I'm going to be said I'm a homer here, but I still think the Steelers are the team to beat in the division, even with Brown out. They're going to get another wide receiver. You're not going to have the talent. Juju is going to see not having Antonio Brown on the other side is going to make a huge difference for him, and that's why he progressed so rapidly.
The tight end is also gone, right?
The tight end, I'm not sure on that one, but they have Vance McDonald too. So they were pretty deep on tight end. The question's going to be, James Conner, can he be the everyday back 2 years in a row? I think you'll see them get somebody in the draft in fine to help Conner in that realm. And I think Big Ben's going to play with a chip on his shoulder this year.
But he could also be declining.
Well, there's no question.
He's not
Father Time's, going to win that battle.
He's not doing a Brady where he's going to be playing past 40 and looking as good as ever.
I agree with you 100%, but I think he's got something to prove this year because if you saw those interviews, those exit interviews with Antonio Brown, the way he threw his coach under the bus, he threw Ben under the bus. I think they got something to prove, and I think Ben's going to have a good year. The defense you saw the Steeler defense did improve last year as the season went on. That was a very young defense. That's going to be better this year. We might see more of the old Steelers where they rely more on the defense than the offense, which has been, the last few years has been offense first. Ever since Troy Polamalu, retired, the defense hadn't been good.
All right, so the Steelers might still be
the slight favorite, but
the Ravens, I think the Ravens are in trouble. Okay, I think the defense is not going to be as good. I think Lamar Jackson,
he has to make a big leaps and bounds because you're not going to win with the running game.
Especially with everybody having a full season to prepare for what they know is coming on the Ravens. So unless his passing improves, that's going to be a struggle. And look, the Browns are getting better.
The Browns are the second best team. I put them as the second best team. They're going to be everybody's sexy pick.
What about the Bengals, who will just not having Marvin Lewis there as an upgrade? Yeah. Okay, he was stale as the head coach. I'm not saying that the Bengals are suddenly going to vault into contention, but I got a feeling they're going to be better than they were.
They're going to be better than they were, but that was a team that had a lot of holes, and every single year it's injuries. A.J. Green gets hurt. Tyler Eifert, I feel so bad for that guy. That guy could not stay on the field at all for the Bengals. And when they have all their offensive weapons, Andy Dalton's a capable quarterback. He hasn't won the big game yet, but he's a capable quarterback. They won't be as bad as people think. The Ravens could go from first to last.
I don't think that's outlandish. And the value early on they could be the best value fade early in the season because, it's just my opinion. I'm sure there's people listening and saying you're way off. But right now, I'm kind of looking at the Ravens as a team that might get overpriced going into the season. Won't take long to adjust, obviously. Yeah. But you might get a couple of good winners early against them because I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year.
Especially if they match up against a good offensive team because people are not going to realize how bad that defense is going to drop.
St. Mary's and Gonzaga, the marquee matchup later on. That game right here in Las Vegas at the Orleans. Right now, we'll check in on some tournament action as we go to the Tuesday 4 at 4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sports Line's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
Brought to you every day by MJ Christensen. Almost 80 years in Las Vegas, and stay tuned because some amazing specials coming for the 80th anniversary special at MJ is going to be taking place next month, April of 2019, just around the bend. Check out the store at Boca Park. Check them out online, mjchristensen.com, and on Facebook as well for more specials. Pittsburgh and Boston College in the ACC tonight. Why are we mentioning this game? Neither one of these teams is going anywhere, but you know what? Somebody gets to keep on playing. And that's the whole intent. And you'll see these two teams out there playing with nothing to lose tonight and hoping to advance for, to keep their season alive for another day. Nobody wants to end on a losing note, almost everybody does. So this could be a pretty good ball game tonight. Pittsburgh has not played well down the stretch. You would say Boston College is in better form heading into this tournament.
That would be an understatement, saying Pitt has not played well down the stretch. Hey, this is a battle of our old stomping grounds.
Yes.
Me against you here, Dave.
Old Big East stuff here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And,
no, I'm a Providence College guy.
You're Providence?
Yeah.
Okay. Go with the winner.
No, I'm from Providence.
There you go. Pitt, ugly as it could be. They had lost 13 in a row, Dave. And not only did they lose 13 in a row, they were 0-12-1 against the spread during that stretch.
I'm thinking back to before this started, and I remember talking with someone about them and saying, they might sneak into the NIT this year because they were a young team. They were looking like they were improving, and then it just everything went bad.
And it's just the opposite of what you would expect, because when we talked about them on the show, Dave, was right after it was going into the Florida State game when they caught Florida State off the Duke game. Then they had a couple of good games.
In that game.
Except we both did, and it was a situation where, hey, we're saying we like what's going on at Pitt. They got all these freshmen, and usually, Dave, when you have a team loaded with freshmen, this is the opposite. You see them start bad but get better as the season goes on. They're in reverse form.
I don't know why.
And I can't do it either, but they did win their last game. And they beat Notre Dame, and you say, okay, well, that was another team that was struggling. Notre Dame came back today, and they won easily. So Notre Dame, maybe that win sparks Pitt. I lean to Pitt in this game, but I really can't jump on them. The problem for them, Dave, has been their shooting. They've shot 38% or less in 9 of their last 15 games. That's the problem for them. I'm going to go ahead and take a small lean to Pitt, but this is a game where there's a lot better games on the card.
And we should mention, by the way, ACC early action. Miami defeated Wake Forest 79-71. I think that game landed right at the number.
I think they covered by 1. The line was 7, and they won by 8. Okay. Wake missed a 3 at the end.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at the live number. 7.5, I guess. And Notre Dame gets the win and cover against Georgia Tech 78-71. We move to some tournament bid games. These are finals taking place tonight in tournament action. We start in the Colonial with the NortheasternHofstra matchup. This is a 1 versus 2. And basically, it's a 1 versus 1A. Yeah. Because these teams were even. Hofstra, I think, was the number 1 on the tiebreaker, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's a neutral court. 2 veteran coaches have been at their schools for a while. They know each other well. I mean, the game's a toss-up, and it certainly looks like a game that's going to go down to the wire.
It does, Dave. And I'll tell you what, I was surprised when this number come out. I didn't think Northeastern would be a 2.5-point favorite. Did you think they would be this big of a favorite? I had this game at a pick or -1 at the most.
That's what I thought it would be. I thought it would be a pick 'em.
Because of that, I'm going to lean to the Hofstra stride. Both teams come off hard-fought wins last night, but Hofstra went to overtime to get there. So I think that might be a little bit of the built-in number here, because everybody, when a team plays back-to-back days and they had to play overtime, they think that's a disadvantage going to the next day. I actually like it. I think that if this game comes down to the wire, the fact that they won in overtime is going to give them an edge with they've been there, done that. And in the last meeting, it was a 14-point win by Northeastern, but Hofstra had one of their worst shooting nights of the season, 39% for the game, Dave, and just 22% of their threes. And they take a lot of threes. That was the difference in that game. I'll go ahead. I'll take Hofstra in this one.
The Horizon final is tonight. Northern Kentucky and Wright State. These two teams have been the representatives in the NCAA the last 2 years out of this league. And it's a pick 'em tonight, as it probably should be.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just a dead even matchup on paper. If you're looking for an edge, I think you'd have to say Wright State's in better form right now. They have played really good basketball down the stretch. Good win, by the way, against Green Bay yesterday. That was just an impressive showing. So, I mean, it would strictly be a coin flip to me. Maybe a 51% edge for Wright State. I don't know. I don't see it. I'm sure that people have strong opinions on this game, but I'm sure not one of them.
Well, Dave, you look and you say about that they are toss-up. Well, they split the regular season meeting. Both 4-point wins on their home floor. And then I always look, is there any kind of edge? They both played their home game on a Friday night, which we always talk about those home teams on Friday nights. That's a bigger game because there's less games on the schedule. There's more attention to you. So you can't separate them any way. But I look at this and I say Northern Kentucky was 8-7 straight up on the road this year. Wright State was just 6-10. So that's one of the little differences there. Wright State, as you said, down the stretch, 8-2 against the spread the last 10. Northern Kentucky was just 3-7 against the spread, but they were 8-2 straight up. They were big favorites.
Still winning games. Yeah.
Right. And it's a pick 'em, so they just have to win it. I think the public's going to look at this, Dave, and say Wright State won easier last night, where Northern Kentucky went to the wire. Again, I like that team that had the ugly win, the close win.
Kentucky.
In Northern Kentucky. And I think because if this is going to be a tight game like we think it is, they already got that tight game under their belt. I like Northern Kentucky here.
And Omaha with a chance to make the NCAA